Hi there, welcome to another video from B-Ghud. I have with me Mr. Abraham Verghese. He's a retired barrister and he's been in the UK for the past 45 years.
Yes.
And he's here with his expertise and a lot of things that he has to share with us. So let's move on to the questions for the day.
Very well.
Okay. The first question for this video is, why is it difficult to define happiness and how do you think we can achieve it? I know it's a very abstract question, so over to you.
Namaste. It is a very abstract question. What is happiness for one may not be happiness for another.
Yeah.
Besides that, happiness is actually a very relative term. In other words, it depends upon the individual. That is how I started this conversation just now. Okay? It is very subjective. It can be objective, okay, when you, for example, observe something and gain in happiness from seeing it because it makes you feel good. Okay? And there are many ways of attaining happiness. What is sure is that we will never be totally happy all the time. Okay? Man is made that way, and he has got all those characteristics of self-destruction. So what, I say, whatever you can enjoy, do enjoy. And whatever makes you happy, make yourself happy. Because as very often, as soon as you are happy about one thing, you get something that makes you unhappy.
Or you want something else that would make
That's
you even
right.
more happier. It's like you have the latest phone and then the next
That's
phone
right.
comes.
And
So-
that is typically what Buddha said. You see, we are constantly looking for our desire. It never gets satisfied. It is the desire to get this, to get that, to educate them here, to educate them there, to provide everything that causes us to suffer, that causes or contributes to our difficulties in life. So the more we can control our desires, to be content with what we have, to be happy with what we have, and a clear mind and a clear conscience and an honest behavior, the more happiness you're likely to get, and you can manage it by not having to take on unnecessary burdens such as worries which you cannot change.
I think we can conclude happily by saying that what may be happiness for one may not be happiness for
the
another.
other. Absolutely.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. Why recidivism is on the increase? But what is recidivism to begin with?
Recidivist is a person who repeats mistakes,
Okay.
such as he goes to prison for theft on one occasion. He knows what it is like, yet he continues to thieve, or he continues to do other crimes, and he lands up in prison again. Now he's a recidivist, or someone who makes mistakes and doesn't learn from it.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't know there was a term for it.
Yes, it is.
New for me.
Okay. And
Why is it on the increase?
it is on the increase only because the social conditions sometimes push people into directions they don't wish to take, such as thieving because there is poverty or hunger in the house, such as destroying things out of malice or out of adolescence, out of immaturity. And these issues are mainly social issues. But then there are also large crimes being committed regularly. There are people in authority who continue to abuse the system, and they are also just as much criminals and also therefore recidivists.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Now I must also make this clear that recidivism is not necessarily purely to do with crime. It can be one's unknown behavior, such as not really picking up something, not really understanding something, not really doing something, but understanding something is not necessarily recidivist. It is when you do something slightly wrong, then you repeat doing it. Because
knowing
sometimes,
it's wrong.
knowing that it's wrong, sometimes we get into a habit of it, such as drinking unnecessarily, or
Okay.
smoking for that matter.
Okay. Moving on, I think on the same lines, how the increase in crime rate can be controlled. What is your opinion? I think we can link this to the previous answer, like social conditioning.
Indeed.
Or what are your other thoughts on this?
Well, you see, prison populations increase primarily because there is no aftercare for these prisoners.
No rehabilitation.
No rehabilitation procedures that are actually genuinely cared for, funded properly, and directing them correctly into society.
But the common answer that usually comes to our mind when it comes to crime rate, and how it's on the increase, is because of not severe punishments being given. Do you think that is a valid point?
Well, you see, severe punishments can only be given according to the limitation of the law. Okay, the law indicates the level of punishment that can be given, and the judge decides how many factors have contributed towards it, and therefore what level of fine or what level of prison sentence is required. Equally, they are aware that if it's a first-time person, okay, who has been emotionally disturbed into an action, that there must be great consideration for them, rather than sending them to prison for a long time, where they start picking up habits that are then thereafter dangerous in life, or which they follow when they get into ordinary life.
This question where it can be controlled, like you said, we can conclude that proper rehabilitation to first-time crime committers or second-time people have committed crime, proper rehabilitation would be a good way to control.
And rehabilitation is not a simple matter.
Yeah.
It requires trained staff, caring staff, loving staff, because after spending years in a prison, your entire setup and attitude and mood and anger and sense of injustice and missing out, all these things are reflected in your behavior thereafter. And so therefore, to fit you in back into society is a difficult task, but it is an absolutely necessary task. Okay. Don't let's waste these people. They also need a life, and we must take that responsibility of making sure that these correction institutions are very well cared for and very well supervised.
Got it. On a lighter note, what do you think are the qualities of a good leader?
Well, this varies, I suppose, because a good leader at a time of crisis has got certain qualities. A good leader at a time of peace has got certain other qualities. And so there are many things that make up a good leader. But what is fundamentally important in a good leader is that people believe him and he does what he says he's going to do. In other words, he acts honestly, and he's not there to fill up his sacks or pockets with money or to load his bank account.
Basically, a good leader has proper accountability to the people.
Accountability to people and responsibility for the society. And he must be able to give confidence to people so that they follow him and help him achieve these objectives. You see, you might have excellent qualities of leadership, but if it doesn't appeal to the people, then you're not going to get the help that is necessary to run a government successfully on these matters. Okay. So a leader must be one who's able to also absorb criticisms, take criticisms, and also learn from it.
Help resolve conflicts.
Indeed.
Conflict management.
Indeed. And particularly good administration, so that the bureaucracy and such other units work in coordination, and there is synchronism between the various units in order to benefit society in the whole.
Okay. So with that, we come to an end of this video. So we spoke about why is it difficult to define happiness, and how happiness is what it's different for different people. So we spoke about that. We spoke about a new term called recidivism. We then spoke about crime rate, how it can be controlled, and what are some of the reasons for its increase. And finally, we spoke about what are the qualities of a good leader. And with that, we come to an end to this video. We hope you found this useful. Do leave in the comments below if there's anything that you'd like us to cover, or if you have any doubts in the videos that we've done so far. So that's all from us. Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you very much.